Good morning, everyone. This is Natalie, and I am your sub-host for Witches of the Moon. This is another fill-in video for Season 1, and today's topic is magical tools. Now, what I wanted to show you here to begin with is my most important tool, and that is research. This is a highly individualized path, and on the way you're going to hear a lot of things about you should do this or you shouldn't do that, and I'm going to tell you that to a good extent I wouldn't pay a lot of heed to that. You have to learn to open your third eye and to be in tune with your deity or with the universe and follow your path as an individual. That being said, there are certain things that go along in the craft that are kind of standard, which would be your correspondences, obviously your moon phases, and that sort of thing. Ritual tends to be relatively standard in terms of the formatting, and this is going to be your most important tool for figuring out your personal ritual and path and channel. So research is going to be my #1 tool in the craft. Now, getting a little closer in, Llewellyn's Magical Almanac is an excellent resource for those of us that have a hard time remembering all of the different moon phases, when they begin, when they don't, when they go void of course, which void of course is only important in one particular aspect of tarot. It can affect your readings, and if you're not into that particular aspect of tarot, then void of course doesn't really mean anything to you, but it could negate some of your readings if you are into that. As you can see, I have a lot of books on Druidry and the Path of the Celts because that's my particular chosen path. These two books here were gifted to me. This was a find at the Half Price Books, as was this one. I have another one you can see that's missing. It's called Druid Power, and it's excellent. This was a good little book for just general reading, The Goddesses and the Details by Deborah Blake. And I have a lot of books on Wicca, although I am not Wiccan. And my reasoning for that is because our paths are very similar, our ideals are very similar, and so it always helps to read a little bit about that. And learn. Now, I'm very interested in using herbs in my practice, and that is another tool that's very important in the practice for all witches. Some people like them more than others, but they are very important because they are part of the element of earth, and so we use a lot of herbs in various things, which I'll explain later. The Witch's Craft by Raven Grimassi is also a good book for research. He gives a lot of history on the European tradition of witchcraft. I disagreed with a few things in the book. He tends to ignore the Celtic paths and the other paths of witchcraft that were going on in Asia at the time. He kind of thinks that all witchcraft comes from Italy, and I disagree. But it was a good book, and he had a lot of good ritual practices in there because he does feel that we have a core to our belief, and to an extent I kind of agree. But he covers the core very good in this. Now this book, this was a find. It's a hardback book. It's called The Magician's Tables. I got it for $2.99 from Half Price Books. And if you are interested in learning about sigil magic or finding things to use in your sigil magic, Sunshine Morning Ray did an excellent video on that for Season 2. This is a fantastic book to get. This is a good book that just gives you the history. If you're new to the craft, this is a good one to start out with, but there are many others. I am in the process of building my library. Just to kind of pan out and give you guys an idea. This is a floor-to-ceiling bookshelf that my husband and daughters created to close off the wall, and I'm going to try not to focus too much on my desk because it's a little messy. Just a little bit messy. But I am in the process of rearranging and refilling these shelves with books that will help me on my path. Now, that being said, I'm going to pan over here. This is my witchy cabinet, and I'm very fortunate to have it. This is where I store all of my tools and things for ritual. And here I have pulled out a few things that I'm going to discuss as the basic tools in the craft. And I'm going to start over here on this side. And what I want to talk about is, again, herbs. One of our basic tools are herbs and essential oils. And obviously, if you're going to be blending your own oils for ritual use, this is a prosperity oil that I use to anoint my candles. This is a rose oil that I use for love or attraction. You're going to need little jars and bottles like these. You can pick these up. I think I got these for $1.50 at World Market, and I got this for like a bucket at Michael's. And I love them because they have the cork. Now, the reason I feel the cork is important is because cork is a porous material and it allows the oil to aerate and breathe, which I think is very important. Same reason that they use cork in wine bottles. That's why wine in a corked bottle is always better than wine with a non-cork top, because it allows the wine to aerate and breathe and age better. Now, when working with herbs, you're probably going to need some sort of mortar and pestle. This was my first mortar and pestle. I think I paid $2 for it at a shop that used to be in El Paso, but the lady's husband was military and they moved, and so she moved the shop to Washington. But they are online, and it is Eversage. It's EVHER SAGE, one word, and they are on Facebook. So obviously you're going to need some sort of mortar and pestle to blend your herbs. Now, the two sources I use for my herbs, let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit better. Mountain Rose Herbs, excellent, excellent. They also sell wonderful essential oils, which are very nice and very clean. I get some of my essential oils for certain things, like my incenses. I get this from Hobby Lobby. It does say certified organic on it, but I don't, it smells good. It smells like patchouli, which I dearly love my patchouli. I do put it in teas, which people think is weird, but Frontier Herbs I also like because I can order those through Amazon. I have an Amazon card, and it's wonderful. I have found that the quality between the two companies is fairly close. They're both co-ops and natural producers. They're both certified organic, and I really do like both of these companies, but if you have an Amazon account, Frontier may be a good alternative because Mountain Rose Herbs can get kind of pricey. Now, other things that we use in the craft that you may or may not use, I'm sure you'll use in some form or other. Incense. We use a lot of incense, and these are just some samples of some of the incenses that I have. This is a frankincense incense that I got from Walmart for $1. I don't really consider these the best qualities. This one came from Earthbound Traders. My daughter got me this. This incense is a very nice incense. It's African Violet. Spiritual Sky is the brand. This came to me in a swap. The other thing I want to talk about is your bell. Some people use a bell in their ritual, some don't. I don't always, but I do in certain rituals. And you don't have to have anything, super fancy. This was a gift from my husband. It's got the triple moon on it. It has a very nice sound. But you can get a very simple bell from, Hobby Lobby or anywhere. You don't even have to use one. That's some of my ritual does not call for it, but some does. If you follow a traditional Wicca path, you will use a bell in almost all of your ritual. All right. For those that don't like the smell of incense, my husband cannot stand the smell of incense. You can use an essential oil burner instead. Now, incense itself is a different element than the smoke that comes from it, so just bear that in mind. Now, for those of you that are, well, let me go to this first. With your herbs, you're going to need some things to store your herbs in. I ordered a bunch when I first started on my path of little herbs. I got these from Amazon. It was like 98 herbs, and they all came in little bags. It was fairly generous sizings for as much as I got, and so you'll need boxes and things. This is just one of the many. I've also got the little book box there from Nadia Romanov. This she handmade, and it's gorgeous. I love it. But I use it to store more of my herbs, and then I have more of my herbs and resins in here. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have really bad allergies, as do most people who live in Texas, and it's got me today. Sea salt, element of earth, very important, especially in ritual. Bags. Now, I sewed this little bag, made this little bag myself. I set it where, I don't know if I can show this or not, because I'm holding the camera with one hand and hanging out with the other, but I'll just pull it like this. It is a little drawstring bag that I created. So, boop, you can drawstring it and then tie it off. These are really very easy to make. I just got a piece of felt, cut it, folded it in half, flipped this back, sewed this on one side, and then flipped over the other side and sewed it, and then I just sewed down the sides. And then I just ran a string through. One string going this way and tying on this side, and another string going the other way and tying on the other side. And that can be used as a mojo bag, a spell bag, whatever. So, can be used to carry crystals, if which was where I was going with this one. Now, some people love herbs, some people love crystals. I personally love both. I use this little box to store my crystals. These are not all of my crystals. I have a set that I use strictly for my chakra stones, for when I'm doing my chakra cleansings, my chakra meditations. But these are just a few of my personal crystals. You'll need to research your crystals. There's some really good websites that give you information. If you just put in magical properties of crystals, you'll pull up a bunch. And they'll tell you, they'll help you identify what you have. This is some red jasper. This is some Dalmatian jasper, obviously quartz. So you've got all kinds of things. This is a cochina jasper, which is very beautiful. Somebody had it labeled as dreamstone, and it is not dreamstone. It is cochina jasper, and it's absolutely wonderful, but it's got wonderful energy. Every time I hold it, my little hand tingles. But I use this little bag to store them, and I just pull out a stone each day. I do a little meditation, and I ask the God and Goddess to give me their guidance and what I would need for the day, and that's it. And I just love this one. This is one of my favorites. This is lapis lazuli, and the lighting in here does nothing for the amount of gold string running through that. It's just gorgeous. But crystals are something that you may choose to use also in your practice. Now, another important thing that you really cannot overlook and you really can't get around using is candles. These are some Hanukkah candles that I got from CVS. They were $6.99 a bag when they started out. At the end of the season, they went down to 69 cents a bag, and buddy, I stocked up. Don't know if you can see them, but I got a bunch of them down there. I've given them away in giveaways. I've sent them to friends and gifted them. I like to repurpose the little natural straw string here for mojo bags. It's fantastic. But they're beeswax, so they don't drip. And that's absolutely wonderful for, things that don't require you to use the drippings. You'll need little candle holders. You can pick these up usually for like 10 or 15 cents at any of your metaphysical shops. You can find them online. Or you could do what I did and make your own from some non-fire clay. Or if you want to, if you want to put it in the bake in the oven clay, you can do that. But, it's pretty rough. But I basically formed a little square out of the thing, and I took the chime candle and I stuck it in there. Oops, I stuck it in there, and it held. I held it in there. There you go. And that way, it formed what I needed, the recess. You'll use candles of various different sizes. I even use birthday candles, different colors of birthday candles if I don't have time to wait for this to burn down, but I want to do some sort of spell work, or if I'm out somewhere, I usually carry a pack of these with me so I can do some sort of quick casting, and works out very well. These are my elemental candles. I follow a Celtic path, so I don't use the traditional Wiccan colors, but this is east, south, west, north for me. The next thing that you will need, or that you may use, another tool that we use, I won't say you'll need anything, because I do want to make a statement right here. Let me make a disclaimer that none of this is absolutely totally necessary for you to practice the craft, so don't freak out if you're looking at this going, oh my god, how much is this all going to run? These are things I've collected over time, or that have been gifted to me either by my husband or by other people, but you can use anything you have in your home. Nature, take a nature walk. If you want a wand, go grab a branch off a tree. Be careful how you harvest it, though, I will say that. Do your research before you do it. Do your research on your tree. If something happens to stand out to you, like this branch was just laying there. And I went, oh, I had asked the goddess to help me. I was working with the goddess Morrigan, and I asked for her to please help me to find something to craft a wand in her honor. And walking along, and this branch is laying there on top of a bush. And I went, oh, great. So I hollowed it out, filled it with herbs that were appropriate to what I wanted. I have the little raven and my pentacle, and that's it. It's not great to look at. It's not beautiful, but you know what? It works. So, I want to say that. Don't let the lack of quote-unquote tools bother you. You've got what you need in your own backyard. You can collect over time, borrow from other people, or, you know, ask other people. If you see somebody's got a rosemary bush, you need rosemary, you can pick it up at the dollar store for $1. Dried rosemary in the spice aisle for $1. That's enough to get you through, to get you what you got to do. But going back into the discussion of tools that we do use in the craft, we use a chalice. Now, this is my chalice that my husband got for me. Again, it's very lovely. It's very shiny. I do have to polish it, because if I don't, it tarnishes. So I polish it. I try to do it at least once a week, every 2 weeks. And it is lovely, but it's not absolutely necessary that you have anything that, you know, elaborate. This was my chalice for a long time, and it was $1 at the Dollar Tree. I got 2 of them. Another thing that we use in our practice is pentacle discs. I have this one that I use specifically for the god or for earth. It just looks more masculine to me, or more earthy. So I don't know, I can't say earth. It just looks earthy to me, but it looks more masculine. So I usually use this on my altar, on my god side of the altar, to represent him, or to draw his protection. And then I have this silver one that my husband got me that I use for the goddess, because the color silver is related to the goddess. Now, whoops. I'll just wrap that back up in a minute. I use this one. I got this from Eversage when I was out there. It is simply a wooden plaque that you can buy at Hobby Lobby for $1. She painted it. She drew the pentacle on there and then painted the pentacle over her drawing. In fact, you can still see where she kind of drew that and erased it all the way. But that's okay, because to me, it adds to the character. I liked the energy of this pentacle right away. Again, it's the red and black, which to me is for the Morrigan. And so I use this as my primary pentacle on my altar. I will often put my cauldron on that pentacle, or right below it, to draw the energy to it. So I also use it for charging, but you can make something like this very simply, very cheap. So, you know, don't freak out that you have to have everything. Now, this is another very important tool that you will use. This is the cauldron, and not everybody uses one. Not everybody has one. I just saw a guy in one of the groups on Facebook that was so excited because somebody gave him a cauldron. This was my first cauldron. Itty bitty little cauldron that I got for myself. I think I paid $15 for it on Amazon. And it was really kind of small for what I needed, but it worked. I mean, I used it for a long time to, you know, spell work obviously is my primary use for my cauldron. I know a lot of people just use them as incense burners on their altar, which I don't really quite get, but to me this is really necessary for spell work of a lot of different kinds, especially if you're using fire. I use it to, you know, to burn things, to send it to the universe, or to make ash. If I want to make black salt, I use it to burn that down. So, you know, it's what have you. When I got this one, this is my new cauldron, and I have a confession to make to you all. I'm going to confess to my brothers and sisters that I was having cauldron envy. My cousin Sunshine Morning Ray, if you haven't seen her video on cauldron magic, oh, she has this big, beautiful cauldron that her mother, my dear Aunt Carolyn, got for her, and I was like drooling on myself over it. And I really wanted a nice big cauldron. But my husband did a lot of research, and he was like, oh, you know, this cauldron is going to be a good size for you because this is perfect for solitary work. I was reading the reviews. A lot of people said they thought it was going to be too small. It ended up being good because the big cauldrons are really more for coven work, and you're solitary. So, you know, you don't need a big cauldron. Which, you know, us ladies, we never like being told we don't need something that we want. But he was spot on. I have to tell you, this is an excellent size for spell work. It's wonderful. I love it. And it's still portable enough that, you know, I can carry it around with me if I really need to. But I'm going to talk about travel tools in a minute. The other thing that people use is sage or dragon's blood, or you can use rosemary. A lot of people use these sage bundles. I got this in a swap from Stacy Joe, Painter Barna, and I love it. And my husband got me an abalone shell with the stand that I use when I am cleansing my home or space or something like that. Now, this is a really important tool. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Damh. And traditionally, the Damh is a black-handled knife. But I made this myself, and I didn't bother to paint it. I liked it as it was. And I have to tell you, it's not pretty either. But I don't care. Because to me, it represents my energy, my connection. If you're in the Year and a Day group on Facebook, and you've gone through this past week, Timothy Roderick was discussing the use of the Damh, and he was saying that letter openers do not make good Damhs, and I kind of disagree, because I don't have a forge in my home, and even if I lit up my fireplace as hot as I could in the middle of a Texas summer, wouldn't be too great, but I could never get it hot enough to begin with to forge my own blade, as Dr. Buckland recommends in the book that I showed you earlier, The Complete Book of Witchcraft. There's no way I could do that. So what I did, the Damh is a double-handed blade, and I know it looks like I'm handling this rather carelessly, but the fact of the matter is I'm handling it very carefully because I sharpened both sides. I found a double-sided stainless steel letter opener at Walmart for $1. It came with a little plastic handle. I snapped the little handle off, and then you can see it here on the wood where I laid it down and I traced around where the handle met the edge of the wood. And then I took a carving tool, just like a little chisel, and I chiseled it out until I could lay the stainless steel blade down flat in the wood and put the other piece of wood over it. And then I glued the wood together. It's kind of rough looking, like I said. It ain't pretty, but it works. And then by hand with the carving tools, I drew a design on the thing for the handle, and I cut it out. Now, up here, I used to have the triple moon, and the little two side moons kept breaking off. And then my daughter's dog chewed the top moon off, so I had to cleanse it, sense it, reconsecrate it. I was pretty pissed. But I used a wood burning tool to put my craft name and 2 different types of runes on there, and I put a portion of the reed on there just to keep myself in line. I don't necessarily follow the Wiccan reed word for word. I have my own reed, and if you're in Deviant Witchery, you've seen that. But going on, Damh is an important tool. This is the tool that you will use to cast your circle. I use it for a lot of different things in my ritual. I use it primarily just in ritual. That's another thing that Mr. Roderick talks about, is he's like, your Damh should only be used in ritual. But I have heard of people using their Damh to harvest herbs because you feel such a personal connection to it, especially after you consecrate it and hold it with you and what have you. This should really be over here because this is an incense burner. I just want to go back to that there. Now, this is my new wand. I don't use a wand often in ritual, but there may be times when a wand would be preferable to you. For example, if you are traveling, especially by air, yes, you can carry knives and things like that in your check-in luggage, not your carry-on luggage, but your check-in luggage, because I don't want anybody going to the airport and saying, well, Natalie told me I could. No. This would not pass muster getting on the carry-on luggage, but you could pack it in your suitcase. But people might kind of wonder what in the heck you're doing with a knife in your, or a ritual blade in your suitcase as you're traveling. So you could put something like this in there, or you could even put this into your carry-on. It's just a piece of wood. It has crystal amethyst on the top. It's pewter on the outside. I got this from a gentleman at the Scarborough Renaissance Festival, Scarborough Fair Renaissance Festival down in Waxahachie. My husband, again, purchased it for me, but he had me go through and feel all of the wands, which, you know, my other issue with buying something like that at a place like that is that how many other people have touched it and how much other energy residue is left on that. But I have to say, I was drawn to this one almost right away. I love the sparkle of the purple amethyst in the top. Purple is my favorite color. And that, ooh, buddy, it has some good energy to it. I questioned the gentleman who makes them before I made a purchase, and it was fantastic. Now, another tool that we use in ritual is a little more esoteric. These are our divination, my personal divination tools. This is the Dreamer's Journal, the Dreamer's Tarot, that was gifted to me by the beautiful, wonderful, excellent, bodacious, fantastic, can't say enough good things about her, Amy Webster. She's freaking fantastic, y'all. And check out her Etsy shop, One Witchy Girl. Good stuff. But I literally, my hands tingle every time I pick up this deck. I mean, I have a hard time holding it because it just makes the palms of my hand tingle. I love this deck. It was not one she personally connected with, but I love it, and it's been very helpful to me in receiving guidance from the astral. So, also, these are my OM sticks that I made myself. It took me a while to make them because it takes a lot of time to wood burn in all that stuff. Plus, I had to write all the stuff on there before I wood burned it in. And I use these when I need a quick and dirty reading. And I really like them. I'm trying to get more into the OM because, again, I'm following a Celtic path. So that's my thing, is I really want to get to know the OM better. And I did a whole video on these on my personal channel. But I did put the tree month, the tree that it represents, or yeah, it's do some research on the OM, you'll know what I'm talking about. I also wrote it in Pictish because I was trying to get better with my Pictish runes. So I've got the OM symbol, well, snap. Okay, I've got the OM symbol, I've got what it represents, I've got the name in Pictish, and then I have the meaning of that particular OM when doing a reading so that I could learn it better. And I'm not going to go into how to use them to read because I've got that all in my video. Now down to the most personal, most, I think, important tool that a witch has, and that is this. This is the Book of Shadows. When you're writing in your Book of Shadows, it's traditional to use parchment paper. Now, I'm uber irritated because I'm one of those people that I like things just a certain way. And I'm a little bit anal about certain things. Some things I'm pretty lax on, but some things I'm pretty anal about. When it comes to my books, I'm really anal. And this, when it came to me, I bought this from silvermist.com. Fantastic. Everything I've gotten from them has been absolutely wonderful. Wonderful energy, wonderful quality. I've bought bayberry candles from them for Yule. They hand dip them. They hand chandler them. I bought a Mabon ritual kit, which is actually that little blue bag with the gold sitting on it. It was an entire ritual kit for a solitary ritual. It's fantastic. And I got this. And when this came to me, it was just loose. 2 pieces of wood, these 2 things, and the gold parchment paper that you see. Now, my husband, in his uber not knowing what the hell he's doing, ordered me celery colored parchment paper. So the fact that I have 2 different colored parchment papers in my Book of Shadows freaking drives me absolutely up a wall. But at this point, I have to work with what I've got, and I don't have a choice, so ideal. But there are various different types of parchment paper. Now, I'm not going to lie, parchment paper is not cheap, and so I use what I have again. But this Book of Shadows to me was awesome. I love it. I feel very connected to it. It's where I write down all of my personal ritual and things that I come across. And I'm going to be honest with you, your Book of Shadows is very, very personal, so what you do with it is your business. I personally like to handwrite, and I do have, I don't know if you can see them over here, I have well, I can just show you the box. I have a set of dip ink pens with various color inks that I use. There it is, sorry guys. I also have some black ink that I use for certain things, but color is very important in ritual and in spell work, and so I like to have the different colors. So what I tried to do, just to satisfy myself, was use the green pages for more like herbal type things and money spells and that sort of thing. But the fact of the matter is, there comes a point, especially with correspondences, I don't know if you can see this, where I just said, you know what, the heck, this is going to take me forever to write in here, and I own my own business. I'm extraordinarily busy. I don't have time. So I threw it in the printer and I printed it off. I'm sure there's people that... Okay, well, sorry about that. My camera kind of cut off. I'm not exactly sure where I lost you guys, but I did see that I was talking about the Book of Shadows, and I think I was saying something effective. I just decided I was going to start printing things and putting them in here when I came across large amounts of things. Now, my personal ritual, personal spells that I create, medicines or medicinal herbs that I mix or incenses I make, those I still handwrite and put in here. But some of the correspondences and stuff, I was just like, yeah, never mind. That's going to take forever. Now, this is the last thing that I wanted to show you guys, and I wanted to talk about travel. This is a wonderful gift that I got. It was the first gift I ever got in the craft. When I got it, it looked like this. All the way around, it was just blank. And this is a travel altar from Sunshine Morning Ray. And I absolutely love this. I was instructed to decorate it as I saw fit, so I did. I used my wood burning tool. And it has everything you could possibly need for ritual on the go. So, excuse me, altar cloth with pentacle, libation dish, which obviously is from the element of earth. It's a large Texas seashell. And, you know, for water or libations or whatever to the goddess, obviously it's representative of the goddess because it's of the element earth. Also, I also find it to be correspond to the element of water itself just because it is from the ocean. So, kind of a dual thing going on there. Little salt dish, brass and citrine and brass bell, brick dust, salt. It's got this adorable little besom I just love. Crystal for earth, grounding. This oil. And Sunshine, I want to know what this is because this is absolutely the most divine smelling oil I've ever smelled in my entire life. I have no idea what it's made of, but I sure would like to know because it's awesome. Incense matches the best smelling Nag Champa I've ever smelled in my life. Absolutely love this box. Sometimes I take it out just to smell it. Candle holders. Sage. Black and white candles for the god and goddess. And I put it in the lighter. But absolutely fantastic. And I love this because I can take this with me anywhere I go. It fits right into a backpack, a suitcase. Nobody even knows I've got it. Half the time my husband doesn't even know it's with me. And this honestly was great. So as you can see, you can celebrate ritual on the go, and it all fits into a nice convenient little box. You don't have to have a whole lot there for that. And as you can see, a lot of the things that came in there were things that came from natural sources. So other stuff you can pick up. You don't have to sink a whole lot of money into the craft to practice. But these are just some of the tools that we do use, things you may come across, at least now. If you've heard of them but you didn't know what they were, you've seen them, and you know what they're for, and you can kind of get a view. So I hope that this video was helpful to you. I hope that you learned something from it, at the very least enjoyed listening to me prattle on about it, and I would enjoy any comments or questions or statements that you guys have. Have a blessed day, and blessed be.